prison guards. You've seen it, caught fatally beating a black male. They avoid arrest. I'm going to remind you of what you have likely already seen. It is horrific.
We're tracking breaking news tonight, video that clearly shows at least 12 strikes or punches to a man who's handcuffed. Robert Brooks had just been transferred to Marcy Correctional from another facility on the day of the assault. Part of the video you will soon see shows a corrections officer using a boot to kick Brooks, who's handcuffed with a bloody face. It happened Monday, December 9th. Robert Brooks, who was convicted of assault outside Rochester, died at the hospital in Utica the next day, December 10th. His death only became public Sunday the 15th, when it was announced by the state corrections commissioner that an inmate had died after use of force by staff at Marcy. Robert Brooks was identified as that inmate the next day, December 16th. Days later, on the 23rd, the governor called for the firing of 14 people implicated in his death. All told, the state attorney general released nearly 2 hours of body cam footage from 4 separate cameras. Now, we'll walk you through the violence moment by moment. Robert Brooks's family has seen parts of it and called it horrific and devastating, and it is.
What the body cam video shows has been widely condemned for its shocking violence. It begins after 9 o'clock at night, Monday, December 9th, on secure property outside Marcy Correctional. There is no sound because the cameras were in standby mode and not activated by the law enforcement officers wearing them. 43-year-old Robert Brooks, handcuffed behind his back, appears to be lifted off the ground and carried by his arms. Less than a minute later, inside the prison infirmary, which is getting crowded with more prison staff. When we see Robert Brooks's face for the first time, it's bloody. Then the video shows 2 punches.
Greetings from the east to north to south, and this wicked ass west. The topic, prison guards, the new slave overseers. The questions, why you think these devils continue to justify his crimes? This devil, from George Floyd, Sonia Messi, Sonia Bland, Rodney King, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Emmett Till, Nat Turner. You can go on and on and on. This devil won't stop. Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Why do you think these devils just continue to justify their crimes? Why do you think that is? Well, let me tell you. Right now, they have the power. If you took and examined prison guards, the prison guards' abuse, you will come to a conclusion that these guards are doing the same thing that the inmates are incarcerated for. Examine it. Your law enforcement officers. Go on and on and on. Anybody in law enforcement. They will commit the same crime, but no indictment. That's the difference. You know why? At one point, they had the term overseer. Now they have the term prison guard, whether you like it or not. That's exactly what's going on. Now, they say slavery ended in 1863, 1865, all depends on where you were. Now, here's the thing. When you're talking to one of these good Christian devils, when you're talking to them, they will tell you slavery ended a long time ago. Now, you did have some, in those days, slave sympathizers. And those are probably the ones that will tell you, well, look, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and slavery is over. Well, let me give you a small bit of history. During that same time, those same people, even from the South and the North, there is no differentiation between the North and the South and these people. Now, they sold you a lie. There is a difference between the Southerners and the Northerners. No, it's not. It's a lie. You can believe it if you want, but it's a lie. Because those same people, although some had sympathy for you, but those same kind did not want you living next to them and their families. They didn't want that. Now, here's the thing. We're in a different time frame today. A different time frame, but the same situation. Let's make a comparison to slavery and football. Back in the 70s, I was watching football. Today is 2025. What is the difference? Same game, different players. Say it again. Same game, different players. It's the same identical game. So when they tell you that slavery is done away with, no. You can forget that. They are doing the same identical thing. And what we need to do is wake up. Because one thing is for sure, things will continue to go the same way in that same direction that it's going now. Because they're going to give you a solution. I can guarantee you. During the George Floyd situation, there was supposed to be some sort of police reform. Did it happen? No. They put you back to sleep. And then they do the same thing over and over and over with false, broken promises. False, broken promises. Now, somehow there's going to be a prison reform. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to change the leadership. It's a culture of corruption. Nothing is going to change. It's that culture. And it starts from the top and it go down. But before I finish, I want to show you another video. And then I'll come back.
Today, incarcerated people are setting themselves alight in one U.S. prison.
If I have to, I don't mind setting myself on fire again. This time I will set my whole body on fire.
The racism and abuse pushing them to put their lives on the line. I'm Malika Bilal, and this is The Take.
Before I have to stay up here and do the rest of my time up here, I would rather die before I stay up here because every day I'm dealing with discrimination.
He's one of several men at Virginia's Red Onion State Prison who reached a breaking point. So extreme, he attempted to set himself on fire.
On September 15th, 2024, a young African man, Ekong Ishayet, and his cellmate Trayvon Brown set themselves on fire at Virginia's remote Supermax Red Onion State Prison.
The news first came from Prison Radio, a network run by people who are themselves incarcerated.
Ekong suffered third-degree burns along his legs and was hospitalized until September 24th for inpatient trauma care, including skin grafts.
It was a few weeks later when Ekong called Prison Radio himself and explained what drove him to such a desperate act.
As he started throwing stuff around, and he grabbed my Holy Quran, my Noble Quran, and threw it on the ground. So I started yelling, like, man, I ain't gonna lie. I said, pick my Quran up off the ground. That is my holy scripture. He said, if you don't like it, come off hunger strike.
We reached out to Virginia's Department of Corrections, asking about the reports of self-immolation at Red Onion State Prison. They told us over the phone that no one had self-immolated, but that some prisoners did set themselves on fire. My guest today has talked to Ekong and his family. She says the conditions he's faced are extreme.
People are desperate in Red Onion State Prison because of the conditions and the torture, literal torture. They are setting themselves on fire. They're attacked by dogs. They are having their materials destroyed, and they are being put in solitary confinement and prevented from talking to their lawyers and their families.
So I want to start by asking you to take us to a place that your outlet has been reporting on a lot recently, a place very few people actually want to go to, a high security prison in a remote mountainous region of Western Virginia with kind of a strange name for a detention center, Red Onion. Why is Red Onion on your radar these days?
We've had reports over the last number of years. Actually, one of our main correspondents, Kevin Rashid Johnson, has been reporting from Red Onion State Prison for over a decade.
Prisoners treated worse than dogs. Prisoners such as Curtis Garrett, who put up no resistance but was mauled by 2 dogs and beaten by guards.
The conditions there are deplorable.
On Christmas Day in 2018, losing the use of an arm and leg as a result.
And they take many people from our inner cities and move them to this very remote location that has almost exclusively white staff, rural county, where the prisoners are almost exclusively people of color.
Okay, deplorable conditions. What are we talking here?
We're talking dogs used on prisoners to intimidate, threaten, and bite them. We're talking about spitting in people's food. We're talking about no respect for people's religious traditions. They cannot kneel to pray. They have their religious materials, such as their Quran or their Bibles, destroyed in front of them. They are brutalized. They are covered in Capsian mace. They are left to not be able to be taken care of in terms of to getting the mace off of them. They are beaten. They are denied access to their families, to phone calls, to reaching the outside world.
Ekong.
I met Ekong the day after he returned to Red Onion from the hospital. He had been placed in a cell next to me in the prison's medical department, where I overheard him talking with others about a series of prisoners, including himself, setting fire to themselves. I could not help but ask him what was going on. He told me simply that the racism and abuses, the hard and inhumane conditions at Red Onion were so intolerable that he and others were setting themselves on fire in desperate attempts to be transferred away from the prison. These were not protests, he made clear, but acts of desperation, hoping to get out of an insufferable situation.
We heard from Ekong at the beginning of this episode, but you've also spoken to him and his family. What more can you tell us about his story and how is he doing?
We always work with our correspondents who are in prison and their families, and we work with their lawyers. And we've called his sister, Ekong's sister, we called his mother, and then we spoke with Ekong.
I got 5 years left. They put their hands on me. I'm going to defend myself, but I'm not trying to get no more time, and I'm not trying to let these people kill me. You know what I mean? Trying to say I was resisting or something, trying to find a reason to just put their hands on me.
Ekong and his cellmate lit themselves on fire. And Ekong was in the medical treatment area for 3 days before he was transferred 7 hours on a bus to Virginia Medical Institute for a skin graft. Wow. He said that his cellmate was injured more severely, but we have not been able to reach his cellmate, Trayvon. So there are people who are literally setting themselves on fire.
So there are many unnamed Robert Brooks in the penitentiary. All of this abuse is going on purposely. As a matter of fact, it is supported by the United States government. If they can reinstitute slavery tomorrow, they would do it today. But they got a process they must go through. Because you can't tell me that they don't know what's happening in these prison systems. We all know they know what's happening, but they won't do anything about it. You tell me why. Because this man right here, what man? He is so desperate to bring back slavery. That's his thing. That's what he want to do. And the sad part about this story is they have a black spokesman that justify what's going on in Red Onion. I don't know, is he over the prison system or not, but he is justifying and he's downplaying what's happening. Under no circumstances, let me make myself clear, under no circumstances would I want to sell my people out to be with these people. No, it's not going to happen. Because I can guarantee you they will turn on you. The thing is, this for-profit prisons, the form of capitalism. What is capitalism? Well, number one is private ownership. It's motivated by one thing: profit, low cost. So you get these corporations that invest in private prisons for one reason, cheap labor. That's it in a nutshell. Low labor costs. That's the reason. Sponsored by what? Limited government. In other words, government, keep your hands out of my business. We are here to make money. It's going to supply the market with what? Cheap labor. That's what they want. They want large profits and they want cheap labor. In other words, they want slaves. So what they have done through the 13th Amendment was legalize slavery. If you can do a quick Google search of incarcerated people from Joe Biden's crime bill. Matter of fact, start from like 1960. And you go up to, as a matter of fact, go up to now. If you go to now, you will find the proliferation of inmates in these prison systems all around the country. Led by who? Black males. This man is the devil. He is the devil that the Bible talks about. That's what he does. Say, well, how is it done? You need certain people to get on board. You need certain, what's the word I want to use? Influential government people to get on board. That's what you need. And I made a list. Number one, the capitalists or the corporations say, hey, that's what we need to do. So they make a phone call, ring-a-ling, boom. They call the media. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to start a campaign against guess who? Black males. Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to corrupt them. We're going to castigate them in the media. We are going to make them the worst of the worst through our media. Now, we got to get the lawyers on board. At one point, there was not as many laws in this country. Again, I'm going to use the word again. It's been a proliferation of laws on the books. Why? We have to lock them up. This devil is so crooked. After slavery, remember, after slavery, the brothers and sisters, they had no form of income. So they made laws. Wait a minute. You're loitering. What? I have no place to go. Uh-oh. Go back to the plantation. This guy is the devil. I don't care which way you want to look at it. He's the devil. Today, through his media, He is doing the same thing through the law or lawyers. Same thing. Guess who else is on board? The judges. So they make this pact. They say, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to start with number one, the corporations, okay? Because we need this money. So the media does its job, castigate black people. The lawyers do their job, or the law, they do their job. Because when you go before them, you don't even have to look up. I was in court one day, years and years and years ago. I can't say that word. I can't say that word. He never even looked up. He kept his head down. No good devil. Never even looked at me. Followed up by law enforcement. You know you're going to get pulled over. What they do, you need to keep your mouth shut when you get pulled over because they're going to find something. That's what they do. They are on board. Followed by who? Prison guards. So when you get to the prison system, they treat you like dirt for a handful of reasons. They prefer the free labor to stay. So therefore, they are above the law. That's why they get away with this. Followed by who? Doctors. What do doctors have to do with it? Because if you are murdered, they'll say, well, no, that's not murder. It was probably suicide. Or doctors have misdiagnosed you. They are on board. I remember, I won't say nobody's name, but they told this certain person that you can't have no more babies. This person was like 26, 27 years old. This man is the pure devil. You got a whole system on board. And then it starts with the council person. Who? Yes, your local council people. They want to make sure that you go to jail. Followed by the mayor. The mayor set things in place. He sent his goon squad out on you, race soldiers. He sent them out on you for that very reason. He wants you locked up. Followed up by the governor. The governor say, hey, no pardon for you. You get to stay. It goes up even higher from the House and the Senate. They make sure they propose laws to keep you locked down. It goes even higher. Your president signed laws to ensure the war on crime. That raggedy, I can't say that word, that raggedy ass Bill Clinton, and on and on. He makes sure that you're going to be locked up. It doesn't stop. So you're fighting a losing battle. Everybody's on board. Everybody is on board. And the thing about this devil, he'll look you straight in the face. Straight in the face. He said, I did nothing wrong. He'll throw his hands up. Bloody hands. He'll hide the rock, throw his hands up, bloody hands. And with a straight face, he'll look at you and say, nope, it's not me. And then he'll blame you. Thank you for listening. I am your host,